Hi all, welcome to One Pitch Catch. India and West Indies played out the second test match at Delhi and it ended in a win for India with the series now at 2-0 and basically series is done. Now, as we get into what happened, there were a few things that were observed. I mean, a lot of the Indian batters got into form, even the bowlers did pretty well. So overall, it was a lot of boxes were ticked. But we kind of could see that like Washington Sundar didn't get any opportunity to bat. Nitish Reddy bowled like 4 overs or something like that across the entire series. Like, what's the point? Like, you can use this opportunity to give them they can exhibit those other skills, right? They have two skills, and when else are you going to do this? If not here, are you going to try it when India go to New Zealand? That just seems weird because on the other hand, I think either Gautam Gambhir or Shubman Gill said, no, we don't want players to only play matches overseas. We want to give them the exposure in Indian conditions, etc. But you didn't. What did you observe about that, Ganesh?
Yeah, exactly, Jaga. I mean, playing in the 11 is not giving exposure. Actually, giving them the batting or bowling when they are expected to do is giving the exposure. I don't understand what is this giving exposure because when we go
Fielding,
abroad,
fielding.
fielding. When we go abroad, Nitish Reddy's bowling is going to help us when we are going to use him as the third or the fourth seamer, depending on the conditions. So that is something that he should bowl in India also,
Yeah,
especially the second test, fourth day, which almost belonged to West Indies
yeah,
batters.
correct.
It was a great opportunity for to throw the ball to Nitish Reddy and try to. I mean, he may or may not pick up a wicket,
Right, yeah,
but that was a great opportunity when the West Indies batsmen were going very well to give the ball to him and try it out.
yeah,
Similarly, in the second innings, when yeah, on that note, one thing I liked was enforcing the follow on Jaga, because I think cricketing teams across the world have forgotten of
yeah.
enforcing
They've
follow on
forgotten.
anywhere. So that is a very good decision. I appreciate Gambhir and Gill and the entire management for that. I like the way. I mean, so though they had bowled almost 80 overs in the first innings,
Yeah,
I mean, though they
workload
didn't
management and all that.
expect to bowl 120 in the second, West Indies batsmen made them bowl 120. So
Right.
it was a very good decision, I feel, about using that follow-on. But once the follow-on was given, they opened with Siraj and Jadeja. I didn't
Yeah.
understand why Jadeja. Both the openers were left-handed batsmen. And
Hmm.
more than Jadeja, Washington Sundar has had to bowl with the new ball in earlier. I mean, be it
Right.
T20 or anywhere, he has bowled with the new ball. So I think Washington Sundar should have opened instead of Jadeja, and Nitish Reddy should have bowled a lot more across the
Or
test.
even Nitish Reddy, you could have had him open along with Siraj, right?
Exactly. If Bumrah had to be rested, Nitish Reddy could have
Yeah.
opened. So I don't understand what is this giving opportunity by just playing in the 11 does not make sense. And again, they sent Nitish Reddy at 5 for batting.
Yeah.
I mean, to be very honest, I think Nitish Reddy has proved himself to be capable
As a
of being a
batsman.
batter
Yeah.
to play in the team. It's his bowling which needs to improve.
Because we saw
uh,
that in Australia and in England also. He was
yes,
not incompetent. He was pretty decent in both series. Sure, the
yes,
consistency was not there, but
yes.
it has always been his bowling that's been the question mark. So what's the point in giving him the batting exposure? I just don't understand.
In fact, Washington Sundar should have been given batting exposure,
Yeah.
and Nitish Reddy should have been given bowling exposure. It didn't happen the right way.
Yeah, I think they probably messed up. Maybe they were sitting in the same seat at different points of time and they just randomly picked people. But I think, yeah, overall, from a series perspective, I think it went on planned lines. West Indies did obviously put up a bit of a fight in the second test. The pitch also was slower than the first test. The turn was lesser. So I'm not surprised that they batted better, but it's not. I think it's pretty rare for them to get 100, let alone 200s, given how their test form has been over the last few years. So definitely it's a much better recovery from being 27 all out and being completely wiped out by Australia. Hopefully they learn from this and do a much better job going forward in terms of planning and showing up for series. I think they were definitely impacted with Alzari and Shamar Joseph not being around. That maybe that could have impacted at least from a bowling perspective, but their batting was still not really there.
except the fourth
Speaking
man.
of bowling, one of the things that's doing the rounds is a lot of criticism around Harshit Rana, which we have covered in one of our previous videos about like how come he gets to get picked to go to Australia for ODIs and T20s, and then he's got picked in other squads over the years when we're not seeing anything, right? And apparently, apparently Srikanth took off on him, and Gautam Gambhir is like vociferously defending Harshit Rana. I think the point that Gautam is missing is the criticism is completely justified because he has not shown anything from a performance perspective. The potential is there, and they were sending him out at number 8 or something in one of the Liptos. It's probably the T20s that ended recently, or maybe it was the Asia Cup. And they seem to think he has a lot of potential, but unfortunately, that's where it stands. It's not translating into performance.
Absolutely not. Yes, Jaga. I mean, see, potential. There are 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds who are being selected for Ranji Trophy. So on
14-year-old
potential,
also, vice captain of Bihar.
vice captain. So on potential. So those 15 to 17, 18, whatever year olds can be taken to India also. And then if people
Ah,
question them, then you can say, don't question him his
yeah,
selection because it will automatically it will affect his confidence. No, that's not the way. People will continue to question why is X not selected, why is Y being selected, all those things. But at the same time, you should be able to justify with performance over a period of time.
yeah,
Almost for more than a year, Ashit Rana has not given that performance except in his
yeah,
debut T20,
yeah.
which where he picked 3 wickets, which was also questionable in terms of he came in as an
Replacement.
impact player for Shivam Dubey and all. But I mean, again, that's not Harshit Rana's fault.
Yeah,
But still, calling it out as shameless to question his selection is actually shameless because I really don't know what is this Gambhir has with Harshit Rana to keep selecting him. Forget selecting him. On top of it, he goes out and defends after a test series where he was not even part of the squad.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He was in the press meet of the test series win and he defends Harshit Rana's selection. I It is absolutely unwarranted, I feel. And Harshit Rana, to me, going to Australia for both the. I mean, if he talks about how that people questioning Harshit Rana's selection will hamper his confidence, what about the confidence that is Prasidh Krishna's confidence after he not being selected in T20Is, after
Yeah.
his great
Or
showing in
or
IPL?
Kuldeep's or
Uh,
Kuldeep's throughout the England series.
so what about those confidence? So he is just using the words shameless confidence to his benefit. He is not using the same yardstick for everything, which is very unfair.
Yeah,
So though, I mean, there are things that we can appreciate Gambhir for, like we've already told about the follow-on or things like that. But Harshit Rana's selection, definitely, I don't feel it's clearly a favoritism. I don't know what favoritism that happened
yeah.
with the Gambhir and Agarkar there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he does well because that will mean that most likely the Indian team is doing well and it will be good for himself. But I kind of doubt if that's going to happen unless he's made some major changes in terms of his bowling, etc. It's really not been that impressive across formats for a while. But speaking of India
Australia.
and Australia. There was an India-Australia match at the Women's World Cup over the weekend, and Australia chased down 330. It's the highest ever chase in a women's ODI, and the previous one was 302 or something like that by Sri Lanka. And they did it so easily. Yeah, there was a little bit of a hiccup towards the end part, but even then Elise Perry came back and they just easily won. And the Indian team looks fairly clueless right now. It's like they have, I think, out of 4 matches, they have won four. They got 4 points. 3 more matches to go, two of which are against England and New Zealand, and then a final one against Bangladesh. It seems very unlikely, especially given the form that South Africa is in, that the Indian team would be in the semifinals. What do you think?
Yes, Jaga. I mean, even I watched the two. I mean, not just the Australia game. It was the Australia game was okay. I think losing to Australia is a given. I think the way Australia women play cricket. I mean, I think they can compete in the men's World Cup and probably just finish fifth and not qualify to the semi-finals. Sometimes I feel, uh, but I think the way they lost to South Africa was very disappointing. after being put in pressure initially in the batting, and then Richa Ghosh and Sneh Rana saving the team and getting to a respectable score, and then pushing them to 160 for a
Yeah,
six or something, and then letting Clark and Tryon go on
take
and
it home.
win
Yeah,
that game. That is, I feel Harmanpreet sometimes really looks clueless, and a couple of times I've seen her after the match also comment about a bowler, particular bowler, saying we
mm.
lost because of that
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
I mean, not this time. Earlier, she has commented. I mean, no captain walks out to the press and says we got lost because of that over. When a bowler gives away 20-25 runs. Okay, so those kind. I think as on the ground, I don't know. If there are better options, Harmanpreet completely looked clueless when, especially when they had the game in their pocket with South Africa. But of course, with
Correct.
Australia, they didn't have a chance. Where the moment Healy
Yeah.
played that blinder of an innings,
No,
and
even
also
even against Australia, the I think they just went into some sort of a brain fade in the last 10, 15 overs because Australia had clearly found a ploy of bowling slow, ramming it into the pitch, taking the pace off, almost like leveraging the spongy kind of bounce. And the Indian batters just kept hitting it into deep mid wicket,
long
long
on.
on, long off. It just seemed, I don't know, where's the planning in terms of reacting to how the Australians were bowling. And the other problem that we saw, I think we spoke about it in the earlier video where we said the top order is not doing well. Now, for a change, the top order did well, the bottom order did. It's like Kallakanda Nayakana, Nayakanda Kallakana Mari. Both have to work. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to win tournaments.
And also, when Australia chased, no, I feel they didn't have a strategy for bowling changes. I felt when I watched the match, it was so predictable who was going to bowl
Mm.
which over. I mean, the person comes and bowls 3 overs and then takes a break, and then there is another 4 over spell. So it was so predictable. When a viewer feels that it is so predictable, I am sure the Australian batters were very sure who's going to bowl which part of the innings. So they had planned their chase so well, and
Yeah,
especially Ellis Perry also, I mean, retiring hurt and she being available towards the end
right.
made the task very easy for them.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it is going to be tough getting into the semis, but yesterday's match, I think it was Sri Lanka, New Zealand was rained out. So that means what could have been 2 points for New Zealand only became one. So maybe
Australia
those are
also.
the small.
Australia also
Australia
got
also.
only 1 point versus Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka has managed 2 points from these two games.
Yeah, they probably it's going to help India in terms of the final points table. Let's see. Which sort of we just finished a pretty intriguing match. South Africa versus Pakistan Test match. They were set 277 to chase down. They actually started decently, but then now they fell 90 short. So as a result, Pakistan basically won the test. And South Africa basically didn't even get a partnership going for pretty much this during the chase, except there was one between Ryan Tickleton and Deval Brewers. They seem to have some serious problems from a batting perspective, and Wayan Mulder scored 514 runs once out against Zimbabwe, including the triple century. Now he has 17 runs from his next two innings against Pakistan, and South Africa are going to be in India soon. Uh, yeah, I think the bowling is fine, but definitely the batting seems to be problematic.
I've already told Vian Mulder at number 3 is not a great option, Jagab. In one of the earlier videos, I think we've discussed about it. Vian Mulder as a test number 3, I don't think that he is ready there. I mean, I think it gave a false sense of being the correct decision because the first series was against Zimbabwe. So I think as
Yeah.
Indian fans would be really happy if Vian Mulder is going to be number 3 playing in India. That is the positive side of it. But if you look at it, New Zealand went to Sri Lanka and lost a test series before coming to India and beat us
Okay.
3-0. Okay, getting used to the spinning conditions and all those things and beat us 3-0. So now Pakistan has, South Africa has started losing in Pakistan. I don't know when they come back, but already Gambhir has asked for bouncy carry pitches. So I hope,
I don't
I
think
don't
that's going
know.
to happen.
I mean, it's going to be a pretty dicey what wickets to give Jaga, honestly, because spinning wickets are going to be difficult for us
Uh,
in
I
terms of
don't
batting.
see no bouncy wickets with carry and all those things coming into the picture. It will be slow turn. And that's the way it's going to be. I mean, because there's just too many. Yes, I think we saw that during the New Zealand series where there were obviously the risks of the opposition spinners being made to look much better than they actually are. But I think if from a bowling perspective, India is better off with trying to opt for conditions that offer the spinners a little bit more. And but then that creates the risk of the batsman because we have seen over the years that batting against spin has also become a problem for India. So we'll see how that goes. It's still a few weeks later anyway. Uh, and then we just quickly round up Bangladesh versus Afghanistan. So Bangladesh wins the ODIs T20 internationals 3-0, and then Afghanistan blanks Bangladesh 3-0 in ODIs. That's not something that you necessarily expect, right? Yeah, Afghanistan have been doing very well over the last decade since they've been in, but winning 3-0 in Bangladesh.
Yeah, especially I mean, it's especially the third ODI they beat by 200 runs. They beat Bangladesh by 200 runs. So I mean, I think it's happening in Abu Dhabi, right? Dubai
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
it's not at home. Yeah,
So, but still, 3-0, Afghanistan blanking Bangladesh 3-0 was kind of a surprise to me as well, Jaga. Yes.
yeah. And then the Ranji Trophy got off the ground today, and Maharashtra were in some early trouble. What was it like? Four, was it was
Five
it
for
was it
four.
4 for 5 or 5 for 4? What is
Five
it?
for four. It's a puzzle. Who figure out which is the runs, which is the wickets.
Yeah,
So that's how it was. It was. But I mean, so Prithvi Shaw in his first game for Maharashtra didn't score any runs again. I hope he revives his batting career, which is good for
yeah,
himself and the country.
definitely. So yeah, I think that's about it. We'll come back again in a few days' time. The Australia series. Do the ODI start first or the T20s?
ODIs,
Who's
ODIs.
first?
19th is the
ODIs.
ODI. First ODI on
Yeah, so
19th.
we'll come back in a few days' time ahead of the ODIs and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, Harshit Rana makes us all proud. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
See you next time and please do leave your comments and feedback and subscribe to the channel. Bye.